So yeah, I couldn't get out of bed without taking a sip of alcohol. There was no like normal, I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock. I got work in the morning. First of all, I was unemployable. The withdrawal was so bad, I could not hold a hammer. I could not do anything, okay? I couldn't do anything and stop the shaking until I had alcohol in me, right? So I did this around the clock. And I mean, this is scary. This was scary stuff. And I didn't even know it because I was living in it. And I was just content being isolated, being by myself. I didn't care if I talked to another human being. If I had my cigarettes and my alcohol, I didn't care. I didn't care. I locked myself in the room all day. I'd wake up at like 4 in the morning, start drinking a couple shots, go smoke a few cigarettes, drink a couple shots, go back to sleep, and repeat. This was my life. This is how I lived. And I think back to it, it's insanity. So I went to many facilities, right? And I went to long-term facilities, short-term facilities, and like none of that was working. I wasn't really going there for the right reasons. I was either out of people to borrow from, steal from, or my parents were just getting sick and they were going to kick me out. I was living with them at the time. So I went to all these facilities for the wrong reasons and ended up going to Salvation Army. I thought I was going there for 3 days to get like my parents off my back. And my probation officer came in and he's like, no, you have to complete the program or you violate probation, go to jail for 6 years. So he stipulated me there for 6.5 months. Now I'm in the Salvation Army for 6.5 months, which I ended up somehow getting the best job and ended up running the place. 2 weeks left in there. I ended up getting my DUI when I went out on pass because I think I relapsed at day 99 or something like that. But I was allowed to go home on the weekend, so I was drinking and stuff like that. 2 weeks left before graduation, I ended up getting a DUI. Do you know how bad and how hard that phone call must have been on my parents? Okay, they think that I've been in a facility at 6 months at that point, and 2 o'clock in the morning they're getting a phone call to come pick me up from jail. Like, I'm sorry for that. I really am. And they never found out, and the rehab never found out. And I completed the program. I felt like such a fraud. When I was on stage graduating, I was sweating. I almost fainted because I felt like such a fraud that like any minute someone was going to be like, hey, this happened, and I was going to get kicked out or have to start over again, right? So the day I graduated, a 6.5 month program, I went on the hardest run I ever went on in my life, right? It was actually April 10th, 2011. And from April 10th, 2011 till July 16th, 2011 were the worst couple months of my life, right? I went harder than I ever went. And I was like really near death's door. I was knocking on death's door. My friend called my mom actually and was like, you have to get home. She was boarding a flight home from California. You have to get home. I don't think he's going to make it. Like, this is the insanity that went on. This just happened over and over again, you know? And there's a thing that happened in there, right? In the Salvation Army, there was this thing every Wednesday. It was Vespers, right? It was actually the most amazing thing that you can ever, I swear to you, the most amazing thing, right? Okay, so some of the people in there were like people that were released from jail. Like, there were some people in there that were violent. There were some people in there that were homeless. There were some people that were in there with addicts, right? But every single Wednesday and every single Sunday morning, we had church. And it was like music, right? So everything, there is nothing more stronger than the power of God I felt in that room. Doesn't matter where, what color, where background, whatever. Every single person in that room was like hand in hand singing these songs, praising God. And for like that hour, everybody, nothing else mattered but God. And I ended up taking that, what I learned. Like, I love that music. I ended up going to concerts and stuff like that. I love that music. I still listen to it, right? So I ended up, when I went to New Hope, like 4 months later after that longest run I ever had, I was in the detox side, and I was going through it. I wanted to get the hell out of there, right? And my roommate was like, oh, my money just came in. And he's like, let's go. And I'm like, I heard them playing that same music that I listened to in the Salvation Army. I heard them playing it in the rehab. It was a Sunday. And I thought about it like, oh, they're playing that here too. Like, I want to see what this is about. So I ended up staying to see what that was about. I'm like, let me give it a chance. I'll go to see what it's about on Sunday. That Sunday, I'm in the front row with the maracas, okay, praising God. And you know what? I've been clean since. I mean, there's also no coincidences. Like my cousin Tiffany, like, best human being on the planet, okay? Loved animals, never like harmed anybody ever in her life, okay? Now you got me, who was on the complete opposite of that, okay? Drinking and driving every day, making decisions I shouldn't, hurting people. And then you got somebody that's exact opposite, who's so like kind, sweet, and loving, right? And she passed, right? So she passed, I think it was June 18th or 19th, 2011, right? So all these rehabs and everything that I went through, none of it worked, right? And this happened with the Salvation Army and with the God thing, and then my cousin passed, and I went to rehab as soon as like everything died down, the wakes and everything, and I've been clean since. It's been less than a month since she passed till I got clean. So there's no coincidences, you know. Something clicked inside of me. Something clicked inside of me. I just, maybe it was what I saw everybody going through around me. Somebody like passed at such a young age. Somebody that was so precious and innocent. And I'm like creating havoc in all these people's lives. Like nobody wanted to be around me. Nobody wanted to be around me. They had to. They didn't like me, but they loved me. And you know, my brothers, both of them, like we were all still young, like mid-20s, right? We were still living in my parents' house, big house. My brother would come to try to talk to me. He'd open my bedroom door, right? He tried to open the bedroom door and he couldn't even open it because there was bodies everywhere. Bodies everywhere. All over the floor, me on my bed, and everybody's just like going through a withdrawal, whatever. Like I had a place where everybody could stay. I had my parents' vehicle, so I had the ride. So that means everybody else had to go find out how to get something, and I'm the driver. You want to ride there? You got to take care of me. And going back to like my previous video I was making about like running out of gas, like we didn't care. There's this guy named Billy Keenan. He lived in my neighborhood. He must have like came and poured gas into the gas tank. Like he brought his gas can like 3 or 4 times. We just called him, hey, we're out of gas. Like we didn't care how we were getting back. We only needed to get to where we were going. So I ended up going to rehab, and I stayed clean and I got out, and I ended up like when you're in rehab. Okay, first of all, this is one thing I want to change about the way I want to do things, right? Because when you're in a rehab and you're sitting there, you're crawling out of your skin. First of all, the detox is the worst part ever. It's a bunch of zombies walking around like tranquilized on all these things, right? And you're crawling out of your skin, you can't sleep, you're sweating, you're freezing. Like it's bad, right? I was in there for a month. Somebody had to carry my lunch tray for me because I was still withdrawing that bad for a month. And because my hands were shaking so bad, I would spill my drink. Somebody had to carry my tray for me. So the thing I want to change about that is when you go into a facility like that, rehab, detox, people are crawling out of their skin, okay? First of all, it's the new day, right? People don't have an attention span anymore. I don't know what it is, if it's from the phones, the technologies, and what. People don't have an attention span for more than a second. Now, you want to take somebody off the street and you want to sit them in a chair and have people come in and you want them to listen to these people all day, all day, all day, all day. That's why people just can't do it. People get up and leave. They're like, I'm done. They go right back out using it. It's the same cycle, revolving door, revolving door. Okay, so it works for me. But that was the old way. That was the old way of doing things. Right now, there's new drugs. There's new everything going on out there. Like, we don't have a system yet to help people. But what I do know is people sitting in their chairs when they can't think, they're crawling out of their skin, sitting in a hard chair all day. That's not going to help success rates. I'm not saying we have to baby people either. They made poor choices that got them there, right? Most of the time they made the poor choice to get them there. However, there's also some people that didn't make that poor choice, that got hurt and needed it for the pain management, and the doctor just cut you off cold turkey. Like, what is somebody supposed to do in that case? Okay, this happens so much. Happens more than we know. Okay, and we see these people, like not one person. If you walk down the street in any major city where they have like open drug markets, you'd think one of those people that are on the sidewalk shooting up or throwing up or giving birth on the sidewalk, like who knows what goes on out there, right? You think one of them people decided, like, you know what? This is how I want to live my life. I'm sure right now this is how they want to live their life because they're free, they're getting high, no worries, no cares in the world, right? Nobody made that decision like, I want to hurt everybody I love. I want to let down everybody I love. And I want to go destroy my life, okay? And all the consequences that come along with it. Not one person would ever make that choice or choose that, okay? Difference between you and I. You went out to a party, you did a line of coke. Okay, next day you went to work. Me, type of person I am, I went out and did the same thing and I'm running. I'm like off to the races. And that's how it is for me. That's how it is for me. That's why I don't drink, I don't smoke weed, I don't none of that stuff, right? Because I know if I do one, and to say one is too many, thousand is never enough, and that makes so much sense to me because that one is too many, and I will never stop. And I don't think I got another recovery in me. So I mean, I got to take a day at a time, be grateful. I got to pray a lot. I got to work on myself daily. Like that's the thing about addicts, okay? They first of all, when you go into a 12-step program, you step work and all this stuff, you find out about defects of character and all these things that is wrong with you. I mean, according to NAA, these are things that are wrong with you. Defects of character, right? So now you have the awareness of oh, I'm jealous, I'm judgmental, I'm this. Like you have a whole long list that you end up writing out defects of character. And you're aware now, okay? So that's the difference between addicts and normal people is the awareness. Now we have the awareness, and addicts think they're like super smart and they analyze everything too much. Like, oh, was I being too judgmental? If this step, I'm like, just live your life, okay? And they say my life. I would never knock it, but there's a new drugs, there's new everything out there, okay? People's minds aren't the same. They started AA, I don't know what year, a long time ago, right? That was the first one. They started AA. And that was a group of guys that got together and just didn't want to drink anymore. And that worked. That worked. And they made these principles and steps and everything to get you to where you want to go, right? And in the process, you're healing. I agree with that. And you're also making amends to people you've harmed. Some people will be like, oh, thank you, man. You didn't even have to do that. I appreciate it. You're clean. That's great. Like, some people will be like, kick rocks. But you did your part. So I think there needs to be a new way, and that's what I'm working on. So when we open these facilities, it's not just going to be about drilling this into your head, drilling it into your head, We need other options. I think we need more meditation. I think we need to be more in touch with nature. That's what I think, and that's what I'm working on. And, I'm here. What time is it? It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm sitting here making a video. You know why? Because if you can save one life, wouldn't you? Why aren't you? Because you look at somebody and be like, they made that choice. There's poor decisions on them. How about maybe they made the wrong choice? How about maybe they lost a family member? They couldn't deal with it. They drank. Like, this happens to a lot of people, okay? When are you going to decide that you want to help? When it's your family member all of a sudden or your kid, and now you can identify with it. Now you're like, oh, how do I help? I have no clue. Listen, I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. I worked all day. I ran my other company, busted my ass, came home, put out videos. Now I'm sitting here at 11 o'clock at night making a video to try to help people, try to get the hope out there, try to tell people that doesn't matter. This is the same message I'll keep pushing to you. Doesn't matter where you're at in life. You have the ability to make a change. You have ability to get clean. I did it, okay? I'm the hope. I really am the hope. I'm not saying that to be like cocky or anything. I'm saying that I was the worst of the worst. I ran harder than anybody. I did not think I'd make it past 25. My 40th birthday is next week. That's God. That's God. Okay? So we all got to work on gratitude. Gratitude is not something that you can just say, I'm grateful. No, because you're not. If you're grateful, you wouldn't be walking around miserable. If you were grateful, you wouldn't have anxiety thinking too much about the future. Okay? That's something I need to work on too. Okay, gratitude lists and thanking God every 5 minutes for everything you have. Like that creates gratitude. That's how you do it. You got to work on that, right? Because I mean, there are so many things that we take for granted, from this chair I'm sitting in to the couch I have over there. Like, there are so many things that people don't have. People think your health for granted. Some people don't even have eyes. We're blessed. We're lucky. While we're here, I think that the purpose of while we're here is to help people. Is to help people that are struggling to become the best versions of themselves. I'm trying to be the best version of myself, I got 13 years clean, and I still got a long list of things that in my mind, like, nothing is good enough. Nothing is good enough. If I'm sitting still, I'm stagnant, I need to clean this, I need to read that, I need to learn this, I need to read the Bible, I need to pray, I need to meditate, I need to work out. I should be working on a foundation. I should be making a lumber list for my other company. Like, I can't just be content and sit and be like, all right, everything's fine, because there's something that always needs to be done. I don't know. It's just it's something that I feel like no matter how good I'm doing, I'm not doing good enough, and I'm doing great. It comes down to gratitude. So I hope some of you guys got some hope out of this message. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be setting up the equipment in the office, and we're gonna have better content. I got the better cameras, the microphones, I got all that stuff. We're gonna be interviewing people. There's other people that I like associate with, like the guy who trains me for boxing. Like he's got an amazing success story also, and I'd like to sit down and talk to him and interview him. And we came up in two different, very different ways and living situations, environments, all that stuff, and both went through the struggle and both ended up in the same place, right? There's the hope. That's what we're working on. Have a good evening.